All right, guys, so when you're looking at that Audi S4, I want to show you a couple things. You hear that? It might be difficult to see, but the fan on the driver's side is on 24/7, even when the key is off. You see the key? There it is on the floor, fans on, power off to the entire vehicle, right? Now, I want to show you step one, what you're going to do to turn that fan off so you don't have to disconnect your battery. You're going to pull this panel, number one. There's a fuse puller located right there, which is essentially this. And if you look at the fuses right here and the actual numbers right here, the one for the radiator fan is number 4, which you can see right there, number 4. It's a 5 amp fuse. And then look at that like a little map, right? So once you look at that, you know that the radiator is that 5 lower right there. Listen to what happens when I pull this. Fuse out, completely out of there. That's for the radiator fan. And essentially what we're doing is we're fixing the issue that I'm having of the radiator fan turning on all by itself. So essentially I'm going to show you how to get that fixed, but we're pulling off the front end first, then we're getting to the fan shroud and the fans. There's 2 of them, and there's going to be something wrong with my driver's side fan. I've already ordered a new one, so this is a DIY on how to fix the issue for yourself. Now, other people are also talking about it being underneath your ECU panel. So if you go in there, there's a relay, but I was able to lift this up enough, and it is bone dry in there. Water does not get into mine. So we're gonna replace the driver's side fan, and I'll show you how to do it on this DIY. All right, guys, so step one, you're gonna remove all the T30 Torx that go across the entire top. And then once you do that, you're going to turn the wheel, access the screws right here, and then the bolts to be able to slide the bumper off so that you can pull the bumper. If you haven't seen my video on how to remove an Audi A4 S4 bumper, make sure to look at it, and I go way into detail on how to remove that easiest way possible. And just in case, I'm doing this mod on the Audi S4, as you can see, 4.8 liter, 4.2. And to allow you guys to see, it's an Avant. Same thing for sedans, don't worry about it. As long as it's an S4 or an A4, the front end pulls off the same, and it's going to be very similar to replace that driver's side fan shroud. So what we're doing next, we're pulling the bumper. Remember, there's a DIY already in my videos on how to remove that. So tune in, get in there, and check that all out. The rest of the video, I'll show you how to replace the fan assembly. All right, guys, when you're removing the front bumper, be very careful because you see these bolts right here, they stick out. So when you go to remove this, they can slide and literally chip your paint or scratch your paint very heavily. So be careful because you have 4 of those, 2 on each side. I've already taken off all the nuts, and then I'm going to put the phone down just so that I can remove that carefully without scratching anything. You could also put blue tape right here to make sure that you're not scratching anything. Also, if you haven't watched my previous video, make sure you do it because there's a reason you unbolt the bumper the way you do. So when it's unbolted, we're going to slide this completely out. Think of like opening a door, right? And then because everything on the backside stays connected to the bumper, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. We might have to disconnect it to start working on the fan shroud, but for now, we're just gonna pull it out and leave it to the side. All right, guys, next step. I ended up swinging the bumper completely out so that we're not pulling on any of the cords and stuff over here. Let me show you what I did. So right here, let me see if I can wide. Okay, so right here, there's a little clip. I pressed it in, it dropped, and then these you just unplug from the bumper itself. These might be for fog lights or something of the sort. Not exactly sure, I didn't look at it, but those need to be disconnected. Bumper is sitting over there. So next we're going to remove this for the air filter, just to remove it because it's connected to the entire front end right now. So that's where we'll go now. Remove all that. All right, guys, so I remove those two screws right here. This part was sitting right here. We popped it off. We put the air filter stuff over there. And then we're gonna come work on this side. Now what we're going to do here, we already took off the bolts for the headlight, which is right here. And then there's another bolt right here. And then there's another one that's a little hidden. All right, guys, so next, we're removing the headlights themselves. It's a T30. There's one right here. There's another one right there. And then when you're looking at this headlight, you're gonna go all the way to the right, and there's a hole right here. You're going to fit a socket all the way through there, and you'll feel the Torx catch. So you can remove, well, you don't have to remove it completely, just loosen it up, and the headlight just slides out. You can see, actually, let me show you what I'm doing right here. So this is what I'm using to go down through here, because it's got a reach, and then you'll feel it catch. There we go. All right, so remove that and then slide the headlight out. All right, guys, so I was essentially just gonna stop making this video because it takes me a ton of time to sit here and record every single nut and bolt. I was having a terribly hard time accessing the third bolt for the headlight to slide them out on both sides. And actually what ended up happening is my socket, when I was pulling it back out of the hole, it caught and then fell down, and it lodged like pretty deep in there. And I had two sockets, and it happened to each one of them, no matter how careful I was. So long story short, that's where I am. I was gonna stop recording the video, but I'll tell you exactly what I just did right now, okay? So when I was messing with the headlights and everything, so I just removed, this is the front bumper support, right? In case you get in an accident, sits right here in the front. There's 3 nuts right here. They are 12 millimeter, I believe, and then there's a 10, actually a 10. So there's 3 large ones and 1 small one, okay? So make sure you guys remove that. You gain access to all this. Once you gain access to all that, I came over here on the side, and there was a bolt which goes right here. You can see that the whole front end has slid forward just a little bit. And then I did the same thing here on the other side. So that bolt, what that allowed me to do is, check this out. The whole front end, I was able to slide up, and look how much clearance we have. The cool thing about this clearance is now if we go on the back side of the fan, see if I can do a wide angle here. I don't know if it'll work. So on the back side of the fan, there's going to be, let's see, I'm blocking everything. But yeah, there you go. There's a bolt right there. There's another one right there, and there's probably 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I have enough clearance to reach in there and take those 4 bolts off, and if that gains enough room for the fan assembly, you can do this entire job without even having to pull the headlights. So I'm gonna try that next, let you guys know how it works out. All right, guys, and like I said, I've already removed 2 bolts, so I'm gonna go down here all the way between these 2 lines, and then there is a bolt right there, as you can see, and there's enough clearance for me to be able to remove it. So that bolt's coming out next. That's number 3. All right, guys, I'm absolutely happy that I made this video. I just saw one thing. You see that water on the floor? I'm going to explain to you what that is in just one moment. But essentially, I was able to take off those 4 Torx. It was a 27, and look, we can remove this entire fan assembly with the whole front end still connected. Now, there's the connector that routes all the way down and through here, and then through the front, and it's connected right here on top. So when you pull the fan out, this connector right here is going to come all the way out. Now what I just noticed is, you see the water coming out of here? Very strange. I noticed something wet, but everything looked so dry. So long story short, you don't have to remove that whole front end. The whole fan assembly is coming out. It actually might be because it is wet. You know, I washed the car yesterday. I never had this issue in my life. Some way, somehow, I feel like the water just accumulated in there, fried out my fan some way, somehow. And but a new fan's only, I think $120 is what I paid for it. So we're going to install it anyway. Rather there be a brand new one in there than something that's going to cause issues and faulty. So that's where we're at. All right, you guys, as you can see, what is that? That's the fan right there. We got it completely removed. We're gonna put the new one in. We're gonna bolt it all in. We're gonna plug everything on, and then we're pretty much good to go. So ended up being a great DIY. Oh, let me show you what ended up happening, guys. You see the water on the ground. It actually, so I ended up removing this, the heat shrink or the heat wrap or whatever, on the wires for the fan, like all the way. Let me make wide angle. So I ended up chopping the sensor off because it wouldn't go through through over here. So I chopped the sensor off, just hoping that maybe the new sensor will be a little bit smaller and I'll be able to route it through and stuff like that. Plus I wasn't going to reuse this fan. It is what it is. But the accumulation of water, guys, that was inside here was insane. You can see it on the ground. It doesn't look like much, but if I put the sensor next to it, I mean, you can see how large, you know, the puddle of water is. I didn't know where the water was coming from, but that's hard to tell. But so that was what was causing my issue. I washed the car, and this sensor, guys, sits, guess what? Right there. Water got into the system right here, which started causing issues. So that ended up being the problem. We got this finally fixed. We're gonna install the new one. The part arrives tomorrow morning. I'll put it in and we're complete with this DIY. All right, guys, I know I look like a mess right now. I've been working on this car. Depending how you landed on this page, my name is Eric, owner of Green Owl Motors. I'm always doing getting into DIYs and making DIYs. So depending how you landed on my page, thank you so much for following. Make sure to subscribe. I'm always releasing day in the life type videos of me at the dealer. I don't do a lot of the work, but I am very mechanically inclined. I try not to do a lot of the work because then it takes away from me being able to help customers acquire cars, look for cars, things like that. I rather know what the issues are, purchase a car, get them attended to, get it retail ready, and then flip it out and make sure that it's a good purchase for one of my customers and one of my clients. So with that being said, thank you so much. Make sure you guys subscribe. Videos like this come out all the time from me. So if you're into enthusiast type cars, that's what I sell. That's what I get into. So thanks again. Thanks for following. I hope you really like the video, and I hope this helped a ton of people out. So that's what it is. Remember, a lot of other people are also saying that water gets into the ECU. That wasn't the case for me. Not even close. I could tell just by looking in there. But with that being said, video's all done. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, so this is a continuation of the same video that I was making. So the fan itself came back on all by itself, drained the battery after all that work, and it is what it is. So the next step to actually diagnosing and fixing the issue, 100% fixed. I've already put it in, installed it, checked it. Everything is good, and this was the fix to my car. So remember, my car, the fan would turn on all by itself once you parked and drove it and everything good, right? So you would park it for about 5 minutes and then the fan would just turn on by itself. It was really wacky. My temperature never ever heated up, anything like that. And the fan would go on and off while I would drive. It worked just fine. It was just when it stopped, some way, somehow it was getting power and then turning on. So what the fix is going to be, this is my original fan control module right here. All right, this is the new one that I picked up from eBay from these guys right here, German Auto. They sent it out. I already tested it. It works really good. Well, I guess it doesn't really work really good or not. It either works or it doesn't. So it definitely works. We already tested it, and this is 100% solving the issue that I had. So I'm going to install it right down here. This is where it's located on a 2008 S4 Avant, at least, but the S4 sedan should be in the exact same location. Some of the other S4s have it tucked away right here at the top. That's not the correct one. The reason that we're using this one is because of the connections right here. You can actually undo the plugs. The other one, you need to snip the wiring and then solder it in to your existing wiring harness. So with that being said, let's plug it in. But this absolutely 100% fixed the issue. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, like it, all that good stuff. Recommend to some friends. But this is essentially what I do as a car dealer day to day. I pick up cars, I fix them, I test drive them for about 1,000 miles, fix anything else that breaks, and then they go on the lot. And I'm very specific with the type of cars that I hold. That's why we have the S4 Avant right here, and they're highly sought after, very difficult to find. There's only 3 available nationally right now at the moment. All right, guys, so let me talk to you about both of these fan control modules as well, really quick, to recap the video and pretty much solidify everything. So I picked this up off a B7 S4. Okay, I have a B7 S4. It is completely different than my B7 S4. I have a 2008, which is the last year they made the B7. So I don't know if they changed it that year over to the next, but the shop actually has this on here so that you guys can check that out. Okay, pause the video, write it down if you need it, but those are the cars it comes from. Okay, so with that being said, the reason it's different is the connections right here. Right here we can unplug, over here no. So then I was thinking, let me just splice in no, I don't want to splice into the harness. So make sure you guys are very aware of this before you purchase one of these. I went to the junkyard to get this. I paid like 12 bucks, but it just wasn't the one for me. And what ended up happening 100% with my fan control module, water got on the inside. So I was able to get that. I don't know if I captured it in a video or not, but that's what ended up happening. Water got somehow up into my wiring, and then it went through here, and then it went inside the module itself. So with that being said, I want you guys to be very aware, and again, make sure you like, subscribe. If you like very, very thorough videos and thorough DIYs, I post up a lot of them. All right, guys, so we finalized this video here. We replaced the fan control module. That was the issue. We also did the relay, which wasn't the issue. We put in a new fan, which wasn't the issue. So check relay number 1, check fan control module number 2, or replace that instead of the fan, and you got yourself a well-working Audi with the fan that doesn't stay on 24/7. So it's been off now about 15 minutes. I've turned it on and off a few times, and we're still golden. So thanks for following. Make sure to subscribe. I always need to get new followers. I'm always putting out new content. You can see I haven't been around very long, but I got over 40 videos out, so give me a follow.